I heard you mention that legalization will not change a certain situation because some workers do smoke today, smoke marijuana today, if I understood you clearly. But enterprise has to be sensitized to the issue of impairment at work. However, Mr. McDonald indicated that for pilots and others, and this is very reassuring, I fly a lot, that the screening tests are used and applied, and some were banned from flying the plane that day. Now, some concern because it's only now that this is going to be introduced to the employees and they're made aware of this. Why are they not as concerned for the alcohol part of it? Perhaps I'm confused, but perhaps you might try to enlighten us on that.
My interpretation of that would be that, sorry, because alcohol has been legal for many, many years, many employers feel that, well, they already have a handle on that. They already are dealing with that. It's an old issue. It's not something, whereas this cannabis, this is new. And in fact, our view is that it should be treated the same way by employers. It's the impairment rather than the agent of impairment that should be addressed. And the overall way of dealing with that is through good policies and procedures, educating all employees on recognition of impairment. We don't take a stand either way on testing, understand concerns on both sides, but certainly you want to have some specifics in different industries. The transportation industry has a lot of rules already, as do mining, construction, and other high-risk industries around impairment and illegal drugs and alcohol. So it's really just, as I say, with cannabis, it's more that there's a fear, and possibly rightly so, that there will be more people who will think, well, because it's now legal, I have free rein to smoke it, eat it, ingest it in the workplace. And so it's really up to the employers to ensure that their workers understand that, no, just because you can buy it now doesn't mean the rules have changed in the workplace.
Merci.
Yeah, Mr. Hines, is it okay with you? Would like to further respond?
Yeah, I'd like to just add a couple of things in terms of some support documentation. So in the presentation that we shared with you on page 6, you will see some statistics from Colorado, and they show the change in usage in that state after marijuana was legalized for recreational purposes. And what you will see here, looking at the data, is that in all cases, Colorado went from, anywhere from 8th to 14th highest in the U.S. to 1st or 2nd in terms of the usage patterns. So I agree with my friend that Canadians and Americans are not the same, but we do contend that we should learn something from this experience, that if after recreational legalization, the usage patterns change this substantially in the U.S., the same logic, we believe, has to apply in Canada. So we think the problem is going to be further exacerbated. Second thing is around drugs versus alcohol. So yes, I think it's fair to say that employers feel a bit more comfortable in the alcohol space. Alcohol has properties that make reasonable cause testing easier because you smell it. You see bloodshot eyes. You have slurred speech. We are used to being around people who are intoxicated by alcohol. With drugs, not the same. You don't always know. And what I've heard from people who do testing is this: reasonable cause testing is often alcohol. So you suspect somebody is under the influence, you do a test, it is more often than not comes back it is alcohol. Random testing is more often than not drugs because you can't see it, it's not visible. So those are the concerns that we have as employers. We do think things are going to change. Yes, there are tools in place for managing it now, but when it's legalized, we see a change that is unknown, but we think the evidence is clear.
Okay. Okay.
I do want to say, given all this heightened awareness by employers about the world is about to come to an end, what my friend hasn't said yet, what steps are they taking as employers in regard to the legalization of cannabis to ensure all of their employees in their workplace are fully aware that this still remain an illegal substance to be used coming to work. Unless you have medical reasons for doing so, you will not be doing it. And I think it is also important that what they were not able to get the Supreme Court to do, they're now trying to, of course, to tell the legislatures, you including the senators here today, that you should do this on their behalf. The reality is this is still an illegal substance to be used if you're going to work. And fundamentally, nothing will change tomorrow morning or next week whenever it becomes legal. The fact is, of course, we need to remind folks who are coming to work, just because it is now legal and you will not get a record for or purchasing it and using it, does not mean you should come to work in an impaired fashion. And we need to amplify that education so workers much more appreciate, as the supervisor, they have a responsibility and a role to ensure that is the adhered position within the workplace.
Sorry, time is up. I've got to move.